Good morning. It is a Sunday. It is kind of mid-morning, about 10:30. We've got heat advisories for part of the state today. For the northern part and the southern part, sort of interesting. We've got thunderstorms, again, a possibility in the Lake Tahoe area, kind of south. And that's been going on for a while, and it's going to continue for the next day or so. Got some smoke to talk about in some of the inland areas. Smoke in like the Mississippi Valley up towards the upper Great Lakes region, but a lot of smoke burning from these Canadian fires up near Manitoba, huge fire field. So we'll look at the forecast model there. A little quicker today. We're going to get through this in probably about 13 minutes or something like that. And then empty nest, right? Okay, so let's get started here. We've got temperatures today in Santa Rosa. They're going to go about 80 degrees. Santa Rosa tomorrow goes 85. But Redding, under heat advisory today, where's Redding? 106 degrees today. 106 degrees tomorrow. Chico's right there as well. Chico's at 99 degrees next couple of days. What has happened? Well, let me draw this in. Here's our low, right? And the flow, you can barely pick out the flow around it, right? That low has retrograded. It's come back offshore a little bit, and that's allowed for high pressure to dominate these inland areas. And so the heat is on a little bit. This low kicks through in the next 24 hours and is gone quick enough that the high builds back in, and then it's heat on again tomorrow. So sort of a subtle changes. And this low is one of the reasons we've been kind of in the same weather pattern day after day, which has been pleasant. Fire danger's been low. We haven't seen heat advisories or air quality alerts. This low is going to not become a player anymore. It already kind of has as it's drifted this way, and that allows the inversion to shrink. And that's what we're starting to see now, especially areas north where you can kind of even see a bit of an offshore flow here. And areas south, you're seeing the marine layer going away a little more quickly. And then we can pick out some moisture already up around Lake Tahoe, which would indicate as of 10:30 this morning, you've got enough moisture to get condensation occurring on the on the spine of the Sierra Nevada. So there's moisture in here, and that moisture is going to trigger thunderstorms, and you'll see that in the computer model today. So let's move forward here. We've got a little bit of everything going on. We've got the fog at Point Reyes and out at Stetson Beach and in Pacifica and Half Moon Bay and in Santa Cruz. Put a loop on it. We're used to looking at this, and this is our profiler, essentially. We're looking at the depth of the marine layer. We're not using the acoustic profiler because it's down, but we are using our eyes. It's awesome. This is how they used to do it, right? And you can see it's just getting right up to the top of Mount Tam, the inversion, and then it's cutting and shrinking its way back. A lot like yesterday. The difference today is I think you'll see further clearing, more clearing today than you did yesterday. It's going to be a couple degrees warmer today than it was yesterday, especially in the inland bay valleys. And away from the bay, well away from the bay, it's going to be significantly warmer, especially in the north part of the state. So Sacramento has issued a not a red flag warning, a heat advisory for Redding, almost into Chico. But you see, it's a really kind of truncated area. Usually when you see heat advisories, heat warnings, usually you see them like, okay, it's in Redding, it's in Sacramento, it's in Stockton and Modesto. So it's an indication that the high pressure up north is more dominant. And that's because this low pressure further south is sort of keeping it from becoming too hot here. Subtle changes. So anyway, so this is going to go on through Monday. So Sunday and Monday, heat advisory for parts of the state. These are the temperature forecasts for today. Like I say, it's going to be 106 up in Redding, 107 up around Red Bluff, Chico 96, 97. The real heat, though, lies right in this zone. Isn't that interesting? So it's just that red. Just look at the color. And then these yellows, right, that low is still influencing this area. And because it's influencing this area, it's keeping temperatures a little cooler. But it's not influencing this area, and that's why temperatures and a heat advisory are in effect for this area. I guess I've seen this before, but it's an interesting pattern for sure. Usually, again, when you have a heat advisory in the state, it runs from Redding to Fresno every time and into the Inland Bay Valleys, or at least close to that, into the Livermore Valley. So this is today. Tomorrow will follow suit. The heat advisories will be the same. Here's the computer model, the GFS. It shows the low here and it shows it kind of wants to kick through. It backed away. Now it's going to kick through tonight. And then we got a little bit of ridging. This is for tomorrow and into Monday. A little bit of ridging and then more pulses sliding through. I know. This pattern, it's funny because it's not, when there's weather, it's easy to talk about weather. But when there's not weather, well, there is weather. But you know what I mean? When there's not much change, it's like, wow, not much change. And that's this pattern, the jet stream, stays essentially where it has. And that's going to promote more of what we've been seeing, essentially. So this is the HRRR. No, this is this is the North American model. And we're looking for those thunderstorms this afternoon. And this is a rapid update. So you see the blossoming. So it's right around, as you would expect, around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, you're going to see west slope of the Sierra Nevada, some pretty decent thunderstorms. And that has been the case the last few days. And that pattern will sort of repeat itself again as we go into tomorrow afternoon, but this time a little further north. So you see, if you're backpacking or up in the mountains or running around doing your thing, you're going to want to be prepared for that out in Nevada as well. So some of that subtropical moisture, and then it does it again. It fires up again on Tuesday afternoon, not quite as prominent. So this is the main event for us, which is going to be this afternoon at about 4 or 5 o'clock when daytime heating is at maximum. So that's not much different from yesterday. That's very similar. And then these are the highs forecast again for today. And pretty hot, especially down the desert southwest. Here is the GOES satellite. This is GOES East. I wanted you to see the smoke coming down from those fires in Canada and how it does, obviously, how it does mimic the weather system. So here's a low, right? You see the low counterclockwise flow, kind of like the low we have offshore, but a much stronger low, right? And then one that's defined within the jet stream. And that's bringing smoke down into the Great Lakes region, down into Minnesota, into the northern Michigan. So we'll see how that looks on the model. The forecast for today, there's your smoke advisories, air quality alerts, which are a big deal. You've got some wind here, which I guess helps the smoke, but also drives the smoke down. And then up around parts of New York State and Vermont and Northeast, you've got yourself that air quality concern. And then you have some rain here, some heavy rain, some severe weather right along the Carolinas. And then you've got a heat advisory here, red flag warning here, heat warning here. So again, you see the separation between the heat advisories. There's a big gap in California between where all the heat is. Most of the heat's in the Pacific Northwest from Chico north, and then some of the heat comes back together in the desert southwest. So yeah, a little bit of everything. Okay, smoke model. This is what's that low circulating. Here comes the smoke. I'm like, I debated whether to show you guys this, only in that it's like, well, it's not really us. But it is interesting to see, first of all, the Canadian outlands completely on fire. I mean, there's a lot of fire up there. As you can see, the orange areas, these bright orange areas represent individual fires. So they are burning pretty aggressively, and they have continued to burn. And that smoke area, what is it? And that's thousands of square miles of planet that is covered in smoke, which has an impact on their quality, certainly, but also on temperature, right? Because smoke and the ability to filter the sunshine and so on and so forth, but it has a huge impact. Like talking the other day about Etna erupting, whenever I see a volcanic eruption, I think about Mount Pinatubo or some of those eruptions. When you get particulate, and this is particulate, volcanic eruptions, particulate, small pieces of dust and rocks and things, when you get them up high enough in the atmosphere, they stay. They don't go away anytime soon. So this smoke is pretty high, especially out here, these lighter areas. So a lot of smoke. We'll see how that impacts. Well, it impacts Europe's weather because this whole area, the jet stream is going to take this smoke and run it towards the east. So we'll see how that all plays out. But just remember this in about 2 weeks. And and people are talking about the smoke from the fires and how they impacted some weather pattern, because that's a real possibility. This is Mammoth. They're still skiing. It's 64 degrees today in Mammoth. Right now, today, what am I saying? And they're up there. Look at that. Nice. See how much of the snow, that good strong albedo on that snow. That's why it's not melting as quickly. These other areas are melting very quickly. And I can remember this was all snowed in at the start of the week. This was all snowed in. This was snow covered in snow. But you can see that the dirt gets hot and it melts back on the snow. And then this area here, and by tomorrow, this whole area. Wow. It's got it. We're gonna stick with these guys right to the end with Mammoth, see how long they can go. And then, right, there's a metaphor if there ever was one. I hope you got to see Gizmo fly yesterday. We did show it. You could go back to yesterday's edition of this weather report. I caught some video of it, but she flew. Sonny's out. Mom and Dad come back. They all kind of come back occasionally. They did a couple days ago before Gizmo flew. These are the bald eagles. But now every once in a while, whoever's running this camera is awesome because they'll move it around, and there's another couple other trees that they sit in. Oh, look, a woodpecker. I wonder if Mom would tolerate him. Interesting. I wonder if Mom Eagle would tolerate having a woodpecker on the tree while she's raising babies. Smart bird. Get there when she's not there. But this camera will track, they'll track around looking for the birds. And I think, if I rewind, I think we'll catch them tracking. Maybe not. No, see, I'm just going back through time. Yeah, everybody's gone. It's kind of sad. But they'll be back. We'll check in on them. Have a great day. Tomorrow's going to be very warm again, especially Chico North, but it's still going to be pretty warm in the Bay Area. Livermore tomorrow, 86 degrees. Santa Rosa tomorrow, 85 degrees. Sacramento tomorrow, 95 degrees. So summer is here. Hope you're having a good one thus far. We'll see you back here tomorrow.